It's a beautiful morning in Central Portugal, but the heat is lurking, I can already tell. It's about 8 o'clock. I'm a bit sleepy still, but I'm gonna have an early start because I want to get down to the garden and decimate it. Well, at least part of it. I want to liberate the jalapenos from their weedy nightmare, and then I'd also like to pull out a whole bunch of weeds around the garden, get rid of some of the plants that aren't producing anymore, and just reduce the amount that I have to water. So I'm just up early and getting started. I have some new work gloves, which are actually, I think they're mechanic gloves. They're quite thin, but I don't like the giant gardening gloves. I always feel like you're just walking around in mittens. So these ones, they're not as good for thorny stuff, but I don't really have that much thorny stuff in my garden, thankfully. So they're all good, and I'm excited to have them. I bought a whole bunch of pairs. So the other ones, they're going in the bin, and I've upgraded to some new gloves, so I'm excited to get started and use them. First things first though, since these are mechanics gloves, I thought I would start with my wheelbarrow repair. My wheelbarrow wheel has been flat for probably 6 to 8 months, and I think it's time to put the new wheel on. I've had the new wheel for about a month, but it's literally just been sitting in a pile of crap. So I'm gonna repair my wheelbarrow, take it down to the garden, and then I'm gonna start pulling stuff out. Yeah, so this guy has been shredded to pieces for quite some time. There's obviously an inner tube inside here, and I don't really understand why bother with the inner tube. This wheel is just hard plastic. No problems can arise with hard plastic. Nothing can deflate, so I don't really understand why people go with the inner tube ones. I'm gonna be happy to put this one on. Done? Feels good? It's nice to cross these jobs off the list that you've been staring at for a very long time. So happy to have this done. And now, down to the garden. The weeds have had their revenge. They basically have stuck all over me. They're all over my new gloves. They're all over me. Little pieces of itchiness. They're very annoying. Unfortunately, I got a little overzealous with my weeding and totally pulled out this very healthy looking jalapeno plant. So that kind of sucks. I'll harvest these guys, pickle them up, but that's unfortunate. It looks like a little baby plant. Looks like it was pretty happy. So that's very sad. I murdered it in cold blood, so that's annoying for me, more annoying for it, and very annoying for my pickled jalapeno future. But I'll definitely get a few off of this guy and stick them in the fridge, pickle them up tomorrow. So that looks pretty good. I think I got them all, and I've got a nice bowl of jalapenos now to start me off for tomorrow when I pick the rest of them and then pickle them. But maybe you can see behind me, there's actually lots of figs ready to go. And there's even some up in the top branches going rotten. So I'm gonna pick those ASAP, and I'm gonna get them turned into something else. I don't know if it's gonna be fruit leather, fig chutney, fig jam, fig preserve. Are fig chutney, fig jam, and fig preserve all the same thing? I truly have no idea, but the internet will tell me. And I think you can also do some kind of like a fig liqueur. I don't know. I'm gonna find some recipes and I'm gonna pick this tree, and it's gonna be maybe a weekend of food preservation. We'll see. Okay, here's the aftermath of the weeding. Yeah, so some of them seem happier than others. I see lots of jalapenos there, so that's good news. But it's way too hot right now for any garden work or anything else really, so I'm going to the lake. So it's more of a dam than an actual lake. The water's cold, it's foresty around here, and I'm excited to get in and relax. So I've been in the water. It does feel kind of weird hanging out next to this strange pipe, and the water level of the lake is quite low. It's the lowest I've ever seen it, but the water's refreshing, there's a cool breeze, and I already feel relaxed just being here. So I'm gonna hang out for a few hours, chill out, read my book, probably do some drawing, and yeah, just take it easy and come back at you tomorrow morning where I can work on cultivating this amazing can line a little bit further, and probably do a bit of work in the garden, maybe a bit of work in the water tank, maybe a bit of work on something else. I haven't decided yet, so I'll check in tomorrow morning and I'll see how I feel. Good morning, it's a brand new day. I'm feeling refreshed, and it's actually quite cool this morning, and I'm ready to go pick some jalapenos. All that from one plant. I think that's probably my best plant though. So this is my kitchen preparation area here, and this is the ridiculous fig branch, which is all up in my face, right in the way. As soon as I harvest these beautiful little guys behind me, I'll probably at least take off this branch behind me and slowly remove the rest of it as the figs become ripe, because it's right in the way and it's definitely makes food prep a little bit more difficult. So you're on your last legs, fig branch. But I do appreciate you. I'm sorry to have to let you go, but it's getting ridiculous. Okay, so now it's time to chop up these bad boys, and I'll be very curious to see how many jars I get out of it. It's not a massive bowl there, so it shouldn't take me too long, and then I'll get making the brine, doing the pickling, doing the canning, and then I'll have hopefully 8 jars of tasty jalapenos. So you get the idea. I'm chopping, and I've got a massive bowl of jalapenos still to do, so I'm gonna crack on with the chopping and check in at the brine stage. Okay, last one. That looks like a lot of jalapenos. I might get more jars than I was expecting, or I might not. It's anybody's guess. Time to make some brine. I'm gonna put the jalapenos in the jars now, because then that'll tell me how many jars I actually have, which will then tell me how much brine roughly I'll need. I'm doing the brine a little differently this time because I want to preserve the jars. I want to sterilize them so they're shelf stable, which means I need to boil them in a big gigantic pot, which means in the past it's always led to soggy jalapenos, and that makes me sad. So I'm going to try something a bit different. I'm going to make the brine, and I'm going to let it cool down, and then I'm going to add it to the jars, and then I'm going to boil it, and then hopefully the boiling in the big pot will soften the jalapenos a little bit, get all the brine to go into the peppers and put all that goodness in there, and it won't leave me with a soggy jalapeno. Hello, little buddy. What are you doing down here? Huh? You gonna help me do the jalapenos? Yeah. Just kicking it in the shade, eh? I know, it's hot out here. Okay, so according to my estimations, I'm gonna do 2.5 cups of water, and then I'm gonna do 2.5 cups of vinegar as well. But I like to do a mixture of white wine vinegar and apple cider vinegar, 50-50, because white vinegar is quite difficult to find in these parts, and I don't know, I just like mixing it up so it doesn't taste too much like one or the other. So according to my calculations, 2.5 tablespoons of sea salt and a cup of cane sugar. So 2.5 tablespoons, and there's 5 cups of liquid in here. A cup of cane sugar, which seems to have solidified. Not ideal. I'll just do an estimation here. 1 cup of cane sugar-ish. The more sugar you put, the less spicy they become. Alright, so there's the recipe. I'll stick the lid on, let this get all hot and dissolved. I realized that I could have definitely dissolved everything in a much smaller amount of liquid in much less time, and then added some cool liquid to top it up after. It would have meant less gas on the stove being used, less time waiting for the brine to cool down, but I didn't do that. But next time, something to keep in mind. So the brine has cooled down to an adequate level, I think. Like I said, I've never done this before. It's all very experimental. I've got this little doodad, so I'm going to take the lids off each jar, stick this in as a funnel, fill in the brine, and then screw the lids on and go transfer it into the big boiling pot for 15 minutes. Jalapenos done. I'll set a timer, get those out in 15 minutes, and I will let you know whether they're soggy or crispy when the time comes to taste them. So that's making jalapenos. Didn't do the figs. I'll do those in the morning tomorrow, I think. And yeah, I'll see you in the morning for another day of work of some varied task that I have yet to decide on. Good morning from a new day. I'm well rested, but I'm sleepy because I'm up pretty early. So I haven't had my coffee yet, but I really want to just get the day started, get going on things. I'm excited to show you this. It's my jalapenos. All 8 jars sealed as they should, and they look pretty good. They look the color that they're supposed to be, so I'm excited to crack these open one day soon and have a taste. Today I'm going to be down in the water tank for much of the day, and I might also tackle my fig tree. I don't know. This video seems to be turning into sort of a mishmash of a bunch of different tasks that I've been meaning to get to for a long time, so I'm just going to see where the day takes me, and I'm just going to film for as long as I can, picking up all these little jobs along the way, and yeah, hopefully it ends up being a video full of little interesting things. So this is the branch that is doomed. It's in the way of my outdoor kitchen. So I'm going to start here. Yeah, some of them are definitely rotten, so I'll just put this guy aside. There is this weird liquid coming out of the top, which I think I've heard is bad in some way. So this probably involves a little bit more research. I need to figure out about this liquid because I've heard something about white liquid coming out of a fig. Do I remember what that something was? I do not. So perhaps I'll go look it up now because I think it might be harmful to one's skin. And that would be good information to know. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to Google. I will be back in a moment. Must research. Okay, I'm back. I've done my research and learned that this stuff, not ideal to eat, can cause upset stomachs. So I'm going to chop off the tops or wash it away or something. I did learn that this sappy stuff is good for treating skin conditions such as warts and eczema, so that's good to know. Another fun fact, in case anyone's wondering, eating figs is apparently good for raising your sperm count. So if you're looking to do that, grab some figs. And as it turns out, the leaves do a whole bunch of things. Figs are good for lots of conditions. Yeah, figs. Who knew? Who knew? They can do so much. I've already said this branch has to go, so I think I'm going to saw him off and then harvest from the table. Yeah, sorry fig tree, a large portion of you is in my way, so unfortunately parts of it is going to have to go. There's a lot of low-hanging branches that everyone keeps bonking their heads on. So I decided that after I harvest the figs, I'm going to give this tree a pretty substantial prune. I gave it a pretty hard prune last year and he's recovered nicely, so I'm not worried about it. And I just would like to not hit my head all the time. That would be nice. I don't ask for much. I just don't want a head injury from a tree. Yeah. So one thing I've noticed is up here in my shade, it's become a little bit of a fig catcher. I'm actually going to take this branch off. So I'll chop it and I'll bring it down and harvest what I can. It's treacherous to anyone of average height. So I got a little excited giving the fig tree a prune, but I think it'll be good for it. It's taken off a bunch of branches that were sort of crossing over, so it'll open up a lot of space in the tree. And it'll help me not bonk my head on things as well. So win-win, I hope. I hope you're okay, buddy. You look pretty happy to me, but I guess time will tell. Here we have 6 pounds of figs, and that was the only fig I filmed chopping because I'm in a race against the sun and I need to get inside. Okay, so let's take these figs and cover them in an ungodly amount of sugar. Here we have 6 cups of sugar, and here we have 6 pounds of figs. One recipe said cover the figs with some sugar and let it sit for an hour, and then you mash it up with a potato masher. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll let it sit for a bit and then come back and mash it up. And then we'll combine the ingredients together, which is basically just lots of figs, a hideous amount of sugar, and lemon juice. This is my first time doing this, so perhaps I shouldn't have done a triple batch, but I have a lot of figs. Mashy, mashy. So I made a mistake. It's actually only 4 cups of sugar, not 6. So I've taken 2 cups out. And then simmer for an hour. Seems almost too easy, but let's see how we go. Oh, baby. See you soon. I think it might be ready. It's been going for about, oops, about an hour, a bit more. And I decided to whiz it up. Okay, I'm gonna close that. I decided to whiz it up with a hand blender. I think I'm gonna call that done because it seems to want to escape. And I'm gonna put it in some jars. Okay, moment of truth. It's probably still pretty hot. Yeah, it's good. It's jam. It's not too sweet, actually. Essence of lemon. And I guess it tastes like figs. I don't have a lot of fig experience, but I'm a fan. I hope it solidifies a little bit more after it goes in the jar. But yeah, I think this was a success. I think I have one more day of work left in me before I have to stop filming this week, so I'll check in again tomorrow and let's see what we get done. Come on, you can go in there, go see your friend. Go on. What's there? Orange cat. Where are you? Good morning. Oh wait, what's this annoying thing down here? It's my cat defense mechanism to keep the orange cat out. And it's kind of annoying I have to put that there. So today I've decided I'm gonna work on finishing the floor. I have this annoying and sort of ugly pile of rocks sitting right here, and it's time to move some of them at least over to here so I can build the floor up and seal off the weird gap that the orange cat is using as his entrance to get Mikey's food. So I've had a very relaxed start to my morning. I think when you know it's not going to be 30 million degrees outside, it's easy to sort of chill out a little bit and not be so rushed. Today I don't even think it's going to hit 30. I think today will be 29. So that's actually a miracle, it feels like. But I'm going to start my day by chopping some fig wood. Apparently, according to the internet, fig wood is good for smoking meat. It's also okay for burning. Some people don't suggest it because there's a sappy substance in it, but as long as it's seasoned for long enough, it's fine. Firewood's expensive, so anywhere I can get my hands on wood, I'm gonna keep a hold of it. The alternative to chopping it up and storing it would be probably just sticking it into a burn pile on my property, and that just seems like a big waste. So I'm gonna put the leaves and the figs in the compost, and the rest of it I'll chop it up and yeah, store it until it's dry and crispy and good for firewood. That went a lot more quickly than I expected. I was able to do a lot with the loppers, and I haven't had to bust out my saw so far. I've got these little bits here that I'll need to saw, and this big old wheelbarrow full of figgy goodness is going to go onto the compost. So I'll use this to start a new compost pile. One of the tasks I wanted to do today but decided against was flip the compost into the other bay. I know it's good to flip compost, but I also know that whatever's happening underneath there, it was fine for me last year. It made some amazing, wonderful soil, and I didn't have to flip it. I'm really happy just having it sit in a heap and then seeing what it looks like come springtime when I want to use it. It's not the ideal way of doing things, but I have a lot of stuff I need to get done, and messing around with compost isn't high on my list. What are your opinions on compost? Any thoughts? Any thoughts? I thought so. I thought you didn't have an opinion. Okay, I'm gonna go back to work now. I'm gonna go back to work now. Okay, I've done a little bit of prep work. I didn't film it because it was boring. But basically, this space in here is what I'm going to aim to fill with a puzzle of stones. So basically, I'm just going to be bringing over a whole bunch of stones from this pile and trying to see what fits. My idea is to get a selection of rocks, lay them all out so I can sort of see what they're doing, and then try to find the best ones to fit into the space. So I don't know yet exactly where they're going to go, but I feel like if I make myself a pile of usable stone tiles, then it'll make the puzzle making process a lot easier when the time comes. So I'm just working away at making these pieces, and I'll see what I end up with. And so this is where, for reasons unknown to me, my sound went very strange. And so this is me talking over photos of me looking super hot and sweaty because though the temperature wasn't as hot as usual, I was working in the direct sunlight, and I gave up. I gave up on this job. But what I ended up with is a very treacherous entryway that I can barely walk across, and an orange cat will definitely not be able to get through. So that was my goal. I've laid out the puzzle pieces, I've cut a bunch of them to size, and I'm ready to go for tomorrow. I'm going to try to get this done this week, and this will be next week's video, no doubt. So I hope you liked this video. It was a mishmash of a whole bunch of different things, and yeah, something a little different to my usual themed building videos, which I've been doing a lot of lately. That's returning next week. But if you do like these kind of medley videos of different tasks, let me know. I can do more of them. Basically, it just tracks all the stuff that I do each week rather than focusing on one thing. So yeah, let me know in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all that stuff, share it around, and I'll see you in the next video.